In Congress, a rare bipartisan alliance is taking shape, one that's defying the usual gridlock and partisanship that so often paralyzes Washington. For once, lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are coming together, united by a shared sense of urgency and a belief that the American people deserve answers. This unlikely coalition is on the verge of forcing a historic vote, one that could set a new precedent for government transparency and accountability. At the heart of the matter, a demand for the Trump administration to release all federal files related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. These files, long shrouded in secrecy, have fueled speculation and suspicion for years. Across the country, citizens have been calling, writing, and posting online, urging their representatives to act. The pressure from the public has been relentless, making it impossible for lawmakers to ignore the growing demand for transparency. This isn't a typical debate. It's a direct challenge to entrenched power, using a rarely invoked tool called a discharge petition. This maneuver allows lawmakers to bypass party leadership and bring the issue directly to the House floor, sidestepping the usual political roadblocks. The petition has now reached the crucial 218 signatures, the exact number needed to force action. Every Democrat has signed on, showing a remarkable level of unity within the party. But what makes this effort truly historic is the handful of breakaway Republicans who have joined their Democratic colleagues, risking backlash from their own party to stand up for what they believe is right. This moment reflects deep frustration over the secrecy and unanswered questions that have surrounded the Epstein case for years. Lawmakers are voicing the same concerns as their constituents. Why has so much information been kept hidden? Who is being protected? Outside the halls of Congress, journalists and protesters are demanding answers, holding signs and pressing officials for details about who may have been involved in Epstein's network. The files, held by agencies like the FBI, could finally reveal the full scope of Epstein's network and those complicit in his crimes. The potential impact of their release is enormous, with the possibility of implicating powerful figures from various sectors. Lawmakers argue that the public deserves the truth, no matter who is implicated or how uncomfortable those revelations might be. For many, this is about restoring faith in government and the justice system. Yet, fierce opposition from the White House has emerged, with officials warning of potential risks to national security and ongoing investigations if the files are made public. Republican leaders, too, are holding closed-door meetings, strategizing ways to block the release and keep their caucus in line. The fragile coalition that brought the petition this far now faces its greatest test. In the coming days, the resolve of those who signed will be tested as political pressure mounts and the stakes grow higher. Some lawmakers may face threats to their careers or even their safety for standing up to powerful interests. The nation now waits, watching every development, wondering if this unprecedented push for transparency will finally bring the truth to light, or if, once again, the powerful will succeed in keeping their secrets hidden. To truly grasp the urgency of this story, we need to look back at one of the most shocking criminal cases in recent history. The Jeffrey Epstein case is not just a tale of individual wrongdoing, but a window into the dark intersections of wealth, power, and abuse. Epstein, a financier with deep connections to the world's elite, was arrested in 2019 on federal charges of sex trafficking minors. For years, he used his fortune and influence to operate a vast sex trafficking ring, preying on vulnerable underage girls. His social circle included politicians, celebrities, and business leaders, raising disturbing questions about who knew what and when. Epstein's arrest seemed like a turning point, but just weeks later, he was found dead in his jail cell under mysterious circumstances. Officially ruled a suicide, his death fueled widespread suspicion and left his many victims without closure, while the public was left with more questions than answers. The case quickly became about more than just Epstein himself. It exposed a potential network of powerful individuals who may have enabled, participated in, or turned a blind eye to his crimes. The secrecy and silence surrounding these connections have only deepened public mistrust. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate, was eventually convicted for her role in recruiting and grooming victims. Yet many believe she was just one piece of a much larger puzzle, and that the full truth has yet to come out. Federal files related to the case remain sealed, potentially containing explosive information about Epstein's associates, financial transactions, and the extent of the cover-up. The public and the victims deserve to know the full story. Survivors and advocates have tirelessly demanded transparency and accountability, insisting that justice cannot be served until everyone involved is held responsible, no matter how influential they may be. Unsealing these files could help restore public trust in the justice system and send a powerful message that no one, regardless of status or wealth, is above the law. The ongoing fight for these documents is not just about one case. It's about demanding transparency, accountability, and justice for all. The discharge petition is a rare and powerful procedural tool in the U.S. House of Representatives, often seen as a last resort for lawmakers who feel their voices, and the voices of their constituents, are being stifled by party leadership. It allows rank-and-file House members to bypass the Speaker and committee chairs, forcing a bill onto the floor for a vote, even if leadership would rather keep it bottled up. Normally, party leaders tightly control which bills advance, using their authority to set the legislative agenda. But if 218 members, an absolute majority, sign a discharge petition, they can override this control and demand action. Gathering 218 signatures is no small feat, especially in today's deeply divided and highly partisan Congress. It often means lawmakers must risk angering their own party, crossing political lines, and facing potential backlash from leadership. That's why discharge petitions are so rarely successful. Most never even come close to the required number of signatures. When one does succeed, it's a sign of extraordinary determination and unity among its supporters. After the 218th signature is added, the process isn't over. There's a mandatory 7-day waiting period, giving leadership one last chance to act before a member can formally move to bring the bill to the floor for debate and a vote. When the motion is finally made, it's considered privileged, meaning it takes precedence over most other business in the House. This ensures the issue can't be buried or delayed any longer. In this case, the petition's success required every Democrat to stand together, joined by a handful of courageous Republicans willing to put principle above party. Their rare bipartisan cooperation sends a powerful message. This is not just another partisan fight, but a united demand for accountability and transparency on an issue that transcends party lines. For these lawmakers, the pursuit of truth in the Epstein case outweighs party loyalty, personal risk, and political calculation. They are determined to uncover answers, no matter the obstacles. The use of the discharge petition in this context signals just how urgent and important the fight for transparency has become, reminding us that sometimes the rules of Congress can be bent in service of the public's right to know. At the heart of this push is an unlikely coalition. Republican Thomas Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna, from opposite ends of the spectrum, have united for transparency. Their partnership shows this isn't about party, it's about justice. Every Democrat signed on, but crucial support came from a few Republicans willing to defy their leadership. The final signature is expected from newly elected Democrat Adelita Grijalva, making her arrival in Congress pivotal. This diverse group proves the demand for truth can transcend political divides. With the petition at the brink, the stakes are sky high. Just one withdrawn signature would doom the effort, so pressure from the White House and GOP leaders is intense. Speaker Mike Johnson argues the petition is unnecessary, citing ongoing committee investigations and privacy concerns. President Trump, who once promised transparency, now calls the investigation a hoax and urges Republicans to back down. Critics suspect the reversal is to protect powerful allies. Despite the pressure, Republican supporters remain steadfast, for now. The coming weeks will determine if this fragile alliance can withstand the heat. The fate of the vote hangs on the resolve of a few lawmakers. With the final signature imminent, attention turns to the next steps. After Grijalva is sworn in, a 7-day waiting period begins before the bill can be brought to the floor. A vote could happen as soon as late October. Debate will be fierce, with transparency pitted against privacy and ongoing investigations. If the bill passes the House, it faces new hurdles in the Senate, where bipartisan support is uncertain. Even if it clears Congress, President Trump is likely to veto it. Overriding a veto would require a 2/3 majority, an almost impossible feat. Forcing a House vote is a milestone, but the path to releasing the files remains steep. The Epstein files fight is just one front in a broader political war. Other investigations swirl, including probes into whether law firms are illegally aiding the Trump administration. The DOJ faces pressure to indict former FBI Director James Comey, despite a lack of evidence and expiring statutes of limitation. Critics call this a political vendetta. The House Oversight Committee's own Epstein probe has become mired in partisanship, with document releases fueling further controversy. The White House's aggressive legal tactics, including a massive defamation suit, have only escalated tensions. These overlapping battles create a volatile environment, with transparency and accountability at stake. The fight for the Epstein files is a proxy for a larger struggle over the rule of law. The turmoil in Washington goes beyond investigations. It's affecting the entire federal government. Unemployment in D.C. has surged, driven by mass layoffs of federal workers as the administration reshapes the bureaucracy. A looming government shutdown adds to the anxiety, with agencies preparing for more layoffs if Congress can't pass a budget. The administration has also revoked security clearances for key witnesses, stalling investigations and shielding itself from scrutiny. Meanwhile, a federal judge has blocked a White House policy tying disaster funds to immigration enforcement, dealing a legal blow to the administration. High-profile staff departures and constant legal battles paint a picture of an administration under siege. The fight for transparency is just one of many battles raging in the Capitol. The battle over the Epstein files is about more than one case. It's about the core of democracy. Transparency, accountability, and trust are at stake. When government operates in secrecy, suspicion and cynicism grow. Releasing the files could replace speculation with facts, rebuild trust, and deter future abuses of power. This fight is a defense of the public's right to know and to hold leaders accountable. The outcome will reveal where our government stands on secrecy versus transparency. Will the truth finally come out, or will the doors remain closed? The answer will shape our democracy's future.